we are, Dan. Week
All
8,
right. Week
Friday
8.
Night Blitz.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've got some good games going on tonight. Some games with a lot of things on the line, maybe for some of these teams. Who's
Some implications, yeah.
Yeah, some implications. Their backs against the wall. Other teams we talked about in the earlier episode with nothing to lose. But I really like the way some of these games are kind of shaking out tonight, Dan. You have any scores you like to share at this point?
Joe, my scores are, other than I guess I'll start with this one: Fenwick and Mount Carmel. So kind of the marquee game of the ones I'm watching. Fenwick is up 21-10. They just started the third quarter, so game was back and forth. I know Fenwick went up 3-0. Mount Carmel scored to make it 7-3. Long pass to make it 10-7. Jack Elliott rushes in to make it 14-10. So, and then Mount Carmel scored late in the first half to extend it to 21-10. So that's the closest game I have. Now I don't have a video feed for Montini St. Ignatius. I've tried several ways to get that video. I'm struggling to get that, but I guess that game is 7-7. Maybe at halftime was the last.
That's the last I saw. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other than that, I've got Notre Dame over Leo at 21-0. I've got the same score with Marist over Marmion, 21-0 at halftime. I've got Nazareth leading Bennett 35-14 in the second quarter, and then I've got St. Rita up over. St. Rita was against St. Pat's, and that was 41-0. So I really only have one kind of tight game here. So
okay.
It looks like you might have the games that have some tighter scores right now. Now I will say, serious injury in the Bennett Naz game, so that game was delayed, still delayed. It's been at least a half an hour, so. We want to wish him the best. It looked like a Bennett player that went down. I'm not sure who it was. I don't want to report anything that's not accurate, but it was one of those where they stopped the game for a long time. So hopefully, wishing all the best for all those athletes on the field tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean. You see that at all levels of football, Dan, these days, and everybody's always concerned, and rightfully so, with a lot of different things going on, not only with, regular injuries, but with concussions and all of that. And, we enjoy the game of football as fans, and we know a lot of other people do as well, but I think we always have to remember it's a violent game. Especially at the younger levels too. But once you get to high school and these kids get up junior, senior, it can be a violent game for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I would have parents ask me about concerns about their child playing football, and I still believe this, and that the bigger issue that you face is the what you faced years ago with sprained ankles, maybe some torn ligaments, broken bones, which is no fun and not great. You don't want to see your child go through that, but I think some of these more serious ones can really get your attention. So, wish the best for that Bennett player.
Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah, you'll keep an eye on that, I'm sure, Dan, and let us know. Let me give you some of the scores that I've got and some of the games that I'm covering right now. I've got some real good games going on. We got a barn burner in Elmhurst with IC and St. Viator. That score at halftime is 35-28 IC over Viator. They have just gone back and forth in this game.
That's
trading touch. That's at half.
Wow.
Just trading touchdowns. Cooper Komet looks really good. And he's doing everything he can for Viator. And it's showing he's running the ball. He's passing the ball. And they're scoring touchdowns. I see Will Breich is having a good game, Dan. Quarterback for IC. I I think he's got 3 touchdown passes at this point. I think they also have a interception return for a touchdown. So, IC's playing well, but they're in a game with Viator, 35-28 the half. We've got in the third quarter another good game going on between DePaul Prep and St. Francis. That game is tied up 7-7 going into in the third quarter right now. So, that's at St. Francis. Both teams have been able to move the ball a bit, but they've been having some trouble getting it into the end zone. So 7-7 in the third quarter, St. Francis to Paul. The other game I'm watching, Dan, is St. Lawrence and Brother Rice. And this game is at St. Lawrence, and Brother Rice is leading 14-6 right now. Brother Rice's offense has been able to move the ball up and down the field. CJ Gray is passing the ball real well. They've kind of moved a little bit here in the third quarter. It looks like they're trying to run the ball a bit and control the clock. St. Lawrence got their lone touchdown interception return for a touchdown, missed the extra point. So it's 14-6. Brother Rice over St. Lawrence. The other game I've got here is Loyola and Carmel. Loyola leading this game in the third quarter, 17-7 over Carmel. Loyola has been able to move the ball as well, and Carmel, they scored their lone touchdown. They got a bit of a break. They got really good field position. They were able to march the ball down. I think they started at like the 35-40 yard line of Loyola, and they were able to kind of punch it in from the 2 yard line to get their touchdown. So 17-7 Loyola over Carmel, and the other game starting the third quarter right now is Providence 21 over Marian Catholic to 6, 21-6 over Marian Catholic. So that's where we're at, Dan. We got some good games going on. We'll see how these transpire. They're all in the second half now, so it's getting down to the end.
Yeah, Joe, as we speak, Nazareth just scored to make it 42-14 against Bennett. That's in the second quarter. So still 2.5 minutes, almost 3 minutes left in that game. Looks like Mount Carmel is down to the they are at the 3 yard line. It might be fourth and goal, or no, it looks like fourth and goal from the 3. So we'll see. They look to be going for it. So we'll see how that shakes out, if that separates at all. So another timeout on the field there. And Marist game is just going to get back underway here in the second half. My feed for Notre Dame Leo has kind of stalled here.
Yeah, you mentioned that initial score you had there, Dan? What was that, Notre Dame and Leo?
21-0. So the two scores were both two scores that I saw were Troy Nightingale. So we mentioned him on previous broadcasts, and he's been a difference maker for Notre Dame. He's one of those guys that every time you look up and something's happening, he's involved. Yeah, he's just one of those players. So it looks like St. Pat's has just scored against St. Rita. Now that's a running clock, so that is 41-6 with 8 minutes and counting in the third quarter, pending the extra point.
Okay. And let's see, so I gave you the Providence score, right? Providence Marian Catholic 21-6.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay. All right. Yeah. The other games I've got going on right now, Dan, are at the half. Although St. Lawrence and Brother Rice have started the third quarter. Brother Rice is marching. Got the ball inside the St. Lawrence 10-yard line right now. They're leading 14-6 at this point. The DePaul St. Francis game at the half tied up 7-7. We've got IC and St. Viator in the starting the third quarter in about a minute here. IC 35-28 over St. Viator. So some good games going on, Dan. But some of these, I was thinking about the Viator IC game, and both these teams are 3-4, right? I think we talked about that in our previous episode, our prognosticus episode, about some of the teams whose backs are against the wall. So, I can kind of tell in the way they're playing that they feel like their backs are against the wall, and they're pulling out all the stops. Like I said, Cooper Kmet for St. Viator is doing everything that he can. All right, I think we've got somebody joining us here, Dan. Is that Dave Arian?
Hi, guys.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Doing good. We got a barn burner out here tonight.
What's the score?
We're 14-7. Little under 2 minutes, a little over 3 minutes to go in the third.
Jeremiah Peterson, the ball carrier.
14-7 Montini.
Montini's up 14-7. So, Dave, we've had a hard time.
14-7. So the St. Ignatius triple option offense, boy, oh boy.
Tough.
Very tough. And they bang it up the middle, guys. They really do. They run it well. I'm hoping
No gain on the play. 3rd and 7.
I'm hoping we figure that we're a little more comfortable. It looks like we're more comfortable with it in the second half. We're driving now. We're threatening to score here in the third. We have the ball. It's about 3rd and 7. On St. Ignatius on about their 20. Izzy's dropping back the pass. Damn. Right there. C.J. Hawkins.
Izzy Averson pass complete to C.J. Harkins for a Marco. First down.
All right.
Here we go, guys.
There we go. Yeah.
And at the 14-yard line.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, make sure you make sure you check in with us again, okay?
We will do, guys. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks,
thank you.
Dave.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right.
You too.
That looks like a good game. I sure
That is a good game.
see it on video somewhere.
Oh, we should have asked Dave about that. Say, hey, where can we watch the game, Dave? But hey, Dan, while we were talking there, Brother Rice just scored again. I think I said they were inside the 10-yard line. They punched it in. They go up 21-6 over St. Lawrence.
All right. Yeah, we kind of hung a star on that game because it was two really good teams playing one another. We had some questions about St. Lawrence, about we pointed out their record, their victories versus their defeat against winning teams. So interesting to see how that one plays out. So be interesting to watch if St. Lawrence can come back in that one.
Yeah, another score, Dan, in the third quarter. Providence just kicked a field goal. They go up 24-6 over Marian Catholic. There's about 5.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter in that game.
All right. Yeah, and it looks like so let's see, Marian, Mount Carmel looks like they may have gone up. They may have scored while we were getting the update from Dave. Looks like it could be 28-10. I just have to see here real quick, Joe. Yeah, they did.
Hey, Dan, has our correspondent, our local correspondent, checked in about how we're coming through on X live streaming?
All good. We are all good.
We're all good.
So
right,
far
good.
so good. So yeah, Mount Carmel is up 28-10 against Fenwick. That's in the middle of the third quarter.
Okay. All right, and still at the half, 7-7, St. Francis and DePaul. Looks like they're coming out on the field now to start that second half. But another score here for Brother Rice. I'm not sure how they scored this touchdown, but they just kicked the extra point, and they're up 27-6 over St. Lawrence in the third quarter with about 6 minutes left, Dan. So Brother Rice seems to have that one in hand right now.
Yeah. So, Joe, we've got another score here. Nazareth scores again to make it 49-14 against Bennett. That is still in the first half. So there's 1 minute and 42 seconds left in the second quarter. Nazareth has that in hand. St. Rita scores again to make it 48-7. So that is a running clock. That's rolling. So that's 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Right. And what is that? 49, did you say?
For it is 48-7. St. Rita
48
over St. Pat's. So yeah, so St. Pat's and Bennett on this screen taking it on the chin.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe you should change screens, Dan.
Yeah. This game, Mount Carmel's doing what Mount Carmel does. Joe, I feel like every week, whether you're covering the game or I'm covering the game, it starts out, it's a close game. It's nip and tuck, goes back and forth, back and forth. I feel like it was the same thing against Nazareth, and then Mount Carmel. They don't necessarily have an offense that you would define as wear you down, but that's what they do. I mean, it's what they do with their passing game. It just is really, really difficult to stop. And they are up 28-10. You kind of blink and it's like, well, here we go. They've got a 3-score lead. So really something to watch Mount Carmel work. When they're clicking, they are really tough.
They put so much pressure on you. Because they've got so much talent, and it starts at the quarterback position with Jack Elliott. But, when you look at some of the talent they have at the skill positions, wide receiver, running back, tight end, I don't know. It's really tough to defend a team like that and really prepare for them. You can probably do the best that you can do, but you just got to tell your guys you are going to be on your heels just about the whole game. Right?
Yeah, and your D-line's going to be tired from rushing the passer, and he rolls out and he can scramble. And so it just makes it tough. We've talked a lot about the triple option and how that is so tough to prepare for. If you've got a good quarterback and you can install a fairly complex passing game, it is just as big a challenge. Because it really, really wears you down, and these guys are really good at finding seams in the defense. When you've got the skill that Mount Carmel has, it makes it really difficult to try and defend.
Yeah. Okay. One other quick scoring update here, Dan. Carmel they kick a field goal and get 3 points. So they are trailing Loyola right now 17-10 in the third quarter with 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter. So, Carmel's hanging in there with Loyola. Yeah, right now.
I picked Carmel for the upset, and that was literally for the upset's sake. I felt like they might have a good shot. It's at Carmel, I think, and right? Is that correct?
It is at Carmel.
Yeah,
yes.
So that's what I thought, and it is still in the balance. So my pick still stands. I think Carmel, like I said, I think they've been really underrated, and a really, really good 3-4 team. And even if they lose to Loyola tonight, they'll still be in the same boat as a really good 3-5 team. Maybe one of those best 3-5 teams in the state, which doesn't make anybody on Carmel or associated with Carmel feel better, but that's how it would be.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think who, if they do end up losing this game against Loyola, I'm trying to think who they play in their last game in the regular season, and if they could get a win there and be one of those 4-win teams that might be able to get into the playoffs. But, they've had a little bit. Would you say they've gotten CCL'd? Did you just say that? Can't hear you, Dan.
Yes, Joe. They have gotten CCL for sure. Yeah, they were. They've got a really tough schedule. It doesn't get any easier next week. They are at Fenwick, so great challenge for them. This last game and a half to try and get. They've got to try and at least get that fourth win.
Yeah, they do. Hey, Dan, do we want to talk about the broadcasting technology for high school football?
I feel like we beat them up a lot.
We do beat them up, but and the only reason we do is because we think they can do better, right? And we know they can do better, and we feel like there's this market out there that there's all these people who really want to see these games and be able to consume the games, and it just it's just hard to do.
Yeah,
it's hard to do. Yeah,
Joe, as we score, boy, the alma mater is taking it on the chin.
Are they
14 in the first half? So that will now go to a running clock. So the 2 games on this screen will be running clock. So this screen is bad luck.
Yeah. Good thing we
good luck for Naz. I shouldn't say that. Good luck for Naz and good luck for St. Rita. Tough for the purple division with Bennett and St. Pat's getting running clock. So the St. Pat's game is 48-7. There's just now 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So both these games should end pretty quickly.
Yeah. So are you just gonna sign off, Dan? And
I'm gonna.
All right.
Yep. See what.
Are you gonna give me a warning? Are you at least gonna give me a warning, or just boom, you're gone?
I'm gone. No, I've got good enough games I've got one good game. Now I don't know what Notre Dame and Leo was. That was 21-0, but kind of an entertaining 21-0.
Yeah.
Leo though, they just struggle offensively. Every time I see them, it is drop back and scramble. That seems to be their offense. They have to take a next step, in trying to develop something probably up front, right? That they've got to make something happen. And so that's probably where the difference is, really between, because their skill, it's drop back and scramble effectively, but you cannot. We've talked a lot about running quarterbacks. You just can't make a living dropping back and scrambling.
No. And you see that at every level of football, right, Dan? Can you hear my dogs, by the way?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
Shut up.
Yeah, hold on.
Go kick them. I'm just kidding. All right. While he does that, we're looking at Mount Carmel. They are driving again. Really effective offensively, moving. They're down to the 30-yard line of Fenwick, and it's funny. Again, I'll say it. They don't have an offense that is the traditional wear you down offense, but their passing game is just so tough to defend. I feel like Mount Carmel and Nazareth have passing games that are as complex as any you're going to see in high school football, and because of that, it just wears defenses down. They're just on the field, the whole time, and they might be 10, 12-yard chunks. And as soon as you step up your defensive backs to try and cover those 10 to 12-yard chunks, they go over your head. So it's really challenging, and it's pretty unique.
Yeah. So I've got one more update here, Dan.
Okay.
I sat back down in my chair after yelling at my dogs.
Yeah.
And Loyola scores again. They go up 24-10 over Carmel. So we got somebody checking in, Eric from the Nazareth Bennett game. Hey, Eric, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. How's that game going? We've been watching watching your great broadcast. And it sounds like Nazareth has got it in hand.
Yeah. No, so Naz just scored a touchdown with about 15 seconds left, and so now we're gonna have the running clock in the second half. Right now it's 56-14. I love the game. Kind of took a huge swing in the first 65 seconds. 65 seconds into the game, Naz was already up 14-0. Four plays into the game, 14-0.
Yeah, and where where are they, or how are they scoring their points, Eric? Is it are they passing, running, a little bit of both? Who's performing there?
The first play from scrimmage, Leslie Tittle had a 59-yard run for a touchdown. That was the first touchdown. So that was on the ground. And then we had two plays. We had a tipped ball and then an interception. And then there was about a 40-yard pass to Penley. I know Malachuk's thrown for over 200 yards. So, I mean, they're just kind of doing it all over.
Yeah, they're doing whatever they want, it sounds like. Yeah.
It was 28-0 about halfway through the first quarter.
All right. Well,
fought back a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Eric, we appreciate you checking in as always, and we'll be here, till another hour or so. So if you want to check in the second half, give us a bit of an update. That'd be great.
Yeah. We did have a bit of hearing. I'm not sure which player, but there was a player for Bennett that went down. And he had to leave on a stretcher in the Navy.
Oh yeah.
We did see that. We wish him the best. You never want to see that happen, and hopefully, that's mostly precautionary, and we're wishing for the best for him.
He was given a thumb on his way out,
All right.
on the stretcher.
That's great reporting. Thank you. That is really, really good to hear. So thanks, Eric. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Yeah. Talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye. Dan, Providence kicks another field goal, and they go up 27-6 over Marion Catholic in the fourth quarter. So,
yep. So much for our bad field goal kickers.
Right. I was just going to say we've had bad extra points this year, bad field goals.
We've been rock solid tonight. The extra points here have been rock solid. I don't know if I've seen one miss tonight. Maybe Mount Carmel, but I don't think so. But some of these kickers, we underrate them, and I think Providence has a good one. I think he's kicked several field goals this year, so that doesn't surprise me to hear. Joe, we had I updated you on the Bennett. That game's gone to half. The St. Rita game is moving quickly, so there's an injury timeout on the field there. Looks like Mount Carmel and Fenwick timeout on the field there. That is 28 to 10 still with Mount Carmel in the lead. Looks like hard to tell what the score at Marist is. It might be 28-0 Marist over Marmion, and I still have a lull in the Notre Dame Leo game. Just does not want to continue to play.
And what did we got the update from our correspondent from the Montini game? What was that? It was third quarter 14-6.
Yes.
14-7.
Yeah, 14-7. Montini over St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius was driving, so.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to be a good game, too. I mean, those are two pretty evenly matched teams, I would think. The one thing I did think about that game, Dan, is, the difference in class as far as, Ignatius is what, 8A?
Yes.
And Montini is 3A, maybe 4A?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's quite the difference. I know there's a fair amount of teams that do that in the Chicago Catholic League when they play out of their division, but I thought that's quite a difference there.
Yeah, and it's something that we can talk about at some point. What the IHSA is looking at. I've seen several things kind of floated from a perspective of what are we going to do about the playoffs in next year and beyond. Probably could do something within the Catholic League to tweak that as well. I know. I think rather than 4 or 6 4-team divisions, I think 3 8-team divisions would be better. I just feel like that would keep the sizes similar, size and success. So, a team like Montini that's had a ton of success, they might be able to go up, or Nazareth, they're a 5A school. They can probably play. Well, they can play with any of the blue division schools, that are 8A. They have that much talent. So there's probably some things that can be always tweaked on this.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about that off the air, but I think that you're probably going to continue to see a lot of changes in the IHSA, especially playoff pairings and how that happens moving forward.
Yeah, and I think it needs changes, Dan. I mean, I personally am not someone who likes the whole multiplier thing and, moving up a division, moving down a division, and, if you want to or if you don't want to. I think that makes it kind of messy. I would love for them to figure it out where it's more simple. That way I can understand it, Dan.
Yeah.
Because right now I just feel like, my God, it's like, figuring out, it's like Einstein and his theory of relativity, figuring out who's in the playoffs and, what division they're in. I don't think it needs to be that hard. Do you?
No, it probably doesn't. I think if there's 50 states, you probably have 35 different playoff structures in high school football because you do seem to have some of the haves and the have-nots, and I think what frustrates some schools over a period of time is that you get some of these schools, that have a generational team, right? They might go undefeated in the playoffs and they play a powerhouse team that might be down for a year, right? Maybe they're 5-4 or 4-5, but because of how the playoff pairings work, they're seeded against one another. So that generational team goes up against the powerhouse and loses to the powerhouse, who played in a really tough conference and was a little down. And that's really frustrating. And I completely understand it from the generational team's perspective. Right. And I think
I do too. Yep.
Yeah, I think that they should do something. I'm all for continuing to tweak it. I'm not someone that says, this is how we did it in 1987 and 1995. So this is how we should continue to do it because that's how we've always done it. Well, things are changing within high school sports, and you have to adapt to try and change it. There's been a proposal floated maybe of adding playoff teams, whether it's doubling the number. I don't know if that would do anything. Maybe you get that generational team that I talked about, they get a different draw then.
Right. Yeah.
They get a bye, so they advance automatically. So there just might be some things that you can do to tweak that. I've seen floated, something about a super bracket or a champion bracket where you take the top 8 or dozen teams and you put them in their own separate bracket regardless of class. Yeah. And that might be interesting too. That might be, or maybe you do both. Then
do both.
You get
I like that idea. Yeah.
Because if you look at basketball, if you look at the spring sports, volleyball, I think most, if not all, the teams get in, and so they might get eliminated, but at least they have a shot and they get in, they get to continue their season and do some of those things. So, Joe, as we've talked here, the game, we've got a final 48-7, St. Rita over St. Pat's. That was a running clock for the entire second half. So that one has gone final. St. Rita pretty much in control, as you would imagine, with a score like that from kickoff. Same thing with Bennett and Nazareth here. That looks like that game, while they're at halftime, that'll be a running clock in the second half. So that game will end quickly. Looks like Marist is up 28-0 over. Marist was at St. Pat's, or no? Was Marist at? Yeah, Marist and St. Pat's. So,
right. Yep.
So yeah, that game. So like I said, all my games are kind of in hand. 28-10, Mount Carmel over Fenwick. That's gone to the fourth quarter. So you have to think Fenwick or Mount Carmel is playing some pretty stout defense after that first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Mount Carmel seems to lull you into thinking you're in the game, and then they snap. They're like a cobra.
Yeah, they are.
They snap and they all of a sudden you look up and you're down 18 points. So
right, you're down 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, I mentioned earlier that the IC St. Viator game was a barn burner, right? It was 35-28. IC over St. Viator at the half. Now we're entering the fourth quarter. What do you think the score is?
Is it the same score?
35-28. So, so much for the barn burner. Although that's still a lot of points.
It is.
But they obviously both teams made some adjustments at halftime because they've been able to keep each other down for the second half so far. Same thing, DePaul St. Francis game. Right now it's tied up. Going into they're about midway through the third quarter, 7-7. DePaul and St. Francis.
Wow.
This game is at St. Francis,
that, right?
No, we wouldn't have. It looks like somebody. Well, maybe DePaul Prep just punched it in here, a long pass down the the right sideline. And looks like DePaul Prep is out to kick an extra point here. So DePaul Prep may be going up here in the third quarter. Let's see. They make the extra point. They do. So DePaul Prep 14-7 now over St. Francis in the third quarter. Let's see. The other game, Dan, St. Lawrence and Brother Rice. Brother Rice 28-6 over St. Lawrence. Right now in the fourth quarter, or at the end of the third quarter, and Brother Rice has been able to move the ball up and down the field fairly easily. The only score that St. Lawrence has here is they intercepted a CJ Gray pass, were able to run it back for a touchdown. They missed the extra point, so they've got 6 points, but St. Lawrence has not been able to do much on offense in this game. And you and I talked about this, Dan. St. Lawrence comes in 6-1. Brother Rice, 4-3. Yeah, they were one of our backs against the wall team, and they are now really rolling, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they seem like they are on a mission, and they are not to be denied. Right? That's kind of how that felt.
Yep, exactly. And we've got Loyola. They scored another touchdown. They go up 31-10 over Carmel in the third quarter. And the other,
that's a bit of a surprise to me, anyway.
A little bit, yeah, because you picked Carmel, right?
Yeah.
I think I picked Loyola.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah. Should I say that louder, or should I turn up my mic volume or something? Oh, there's Dave. Dave, you're checking in from the Montini game. How are things going there?
Hi, fellas. We're doing good out here. 28-7.
Wow.
So we got...
Fumble on the play, recovered by Montini. Isaac Alexander picked up the loose football. The Broncos take over first.
So 28-7, Montini over St. Ignatius, and they just recovered a fumble. All right. I think we got that, Dan, right?
Yeah, we got it. Yep, they're having fun out at Montini. They had a lot going on tonight, Joe. They had a special game, something they have every year, honoring a player that passed away. So I think it was several years ago. If I have that right, I know they do a special game for them, and they also had other things happening in the pregame. So they're excited. They're an excited group out at Montini.
They are. I think it's called Johnny's Night.
Johnny's Night. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, and they are, you and I have been riding the Bronco, as we've said, off and on throughout the year, over the last couple of games for sure. They've got a good team, Dan. I mean, their defense is really tough. Their offense has been coming into its own over the last several games. They're going to be a tough out for any team, in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, I think we could probably go so far as to say they're going to be a favorite. I don't know what their seed will be,
right,
because of their record, but I certainly wouldn't want to play them in 3A, so that that's going to be really interesting for the playoff and the pairings and the schools that they might play. So they are a fun watch too. They are really into it. We get a ton of feedback from the Montini fans, and they're
good fans.
Us, and they're very good fans. They're really
they are
into it this year, which is great.
It's great, yeah, and they've got a good team, so I can see why they're into it this year, and it's going to be fun to watch them going forward and see how they do in the playoffs. You mentioned something there, Dan, and we talked a little bit about the playoffs earlier, but are the playoff seedings by record only? There's no power considered into the seedings, right? It's just by record.
Well, there's points. There's going to be teams with the same record, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, you're taking into consideration playoff points. So that's kind of a power rankings, so to speak. It's going to be by your playoff points. So yes and no. So I mean, there's you won't have and won't see is the 5-4 team that bumps over a 6-3 team regardless of record, and that influenced the bracket, right?
Yeah.
Does that
that makes sense? So there wouldn't be any team that's 5-4 that would be ranked higher than a team that is 6-3, is what you're saying,
right? That is my understanding of it.
Yeah, again, the playoffs. It doesn't have to be like figuring out Einstein's theory of relativity, right?
Susie's got it down.
He does have it down. Yeah, but you shouldn't have to be a
one man.
Right. There's one guy in the state of Illinois who understands it, and it's Steve Susie, right? Everybody else. Yes, everybody else has the same conversation you and I are having right now.
Right. There's a lot of pen to paper, and looking, a lot of calculations going on. So, it's interesting.
Yeah, I've been looking at records, because I'm really intrigued by the 4-win playoff team this year. Knowing that there's going to be more, supposedly. We'll see. It gets lower and lower every week, from what I can tell, as far as the number of 4 and 5 teams that are going to be in the playoffs. But I'm there with a pencil and a piece of paper, and I'm adding up the wins for the teams that they played to see how many points they have. I'm like, my God, this is ridiculous. But kudos to Steve Susie.
Yeah. He definitely gets it, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe we can have him on, Dan. You think he'd come on with us?
Why not?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, it looks like Emmett Dowling is in at quarterback for Mount Carmel.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know when and how or why that change has happened, but he's at the quarterback position for Mount Carmel. So junior Emmett Dowling in. We don't know. We don't have anything to report as far as why that's the case, but wanted to report that it is 28-10. There looks like maybe 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. So perhaps that's it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Let's see. I've got a score here, Dan. IC scores. They get the extra point. They go up 42-28 over St. Viator. This is in the fourth quarter. I'm a little concerned, Dan, about the DePaul St. Francis game. We watched the broadcast, obviously. It's showing this as 7-7 in the second quarter. I know that's not the case. I'm pretty sure they're in the fourth quarter here, and I thought there was another touchdown. So I'm not sure if I've got the right score here. Right now, I've got 7-7 St. Francis and DePaul, but I'm gonna do a little research here real quick, see if I can find maybe some kind of update on the score of that game, Dan.
You want me to entertain the masses?
Yes, could you do that, please? Brother Rice, wait, let me give you some of these first, then you go for it. Brother Rice 35-6 over St. Lawrence. Dan,
Wow.
you called that one. I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I picked St. Lawrence. You picked Brother Rice.
I didn't think it would be. I think I may have used the term nail biter. So
Nail biter?
yeah,
All right.
it doesn't seem like that's the case.
It doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
But actually, I think the conversation we had around that was, we talked a little bit about St. Lawrence's schedule. They're 6-1. We're wondering, what kind of competition they really played. Obviously, you got to win the games, and you can only play the teams that are on your schedule, right? But Brother Rice seems to be a little more battle tested here, and it's kind of proving out in this game. But and let's see, I've got Loyola 34-10 over Carmel, and Providence with only 48 seconds left to go in the game is 34-6 over Marian Catholic.
okay, yeah, that was one we thought might be closer too. We felt like Marion was taking some strides. But you said that they've struggled offensively, and Providence plays really good defense. So
they do.
you can see how that happened, right? And so that's while it's the score is a surprise, you can definitely make a case for seeing why that score is what it is.
Yeah, and if I'm a Providence fan, and I am, I'm a fan of all the CCL teams, so I don't have favorites one way or the other. But if I'm a Providence fan, I am really happy about the 34 points, Dan, because they've had some trouble scoring points this year.
They have, and if they. Marian Catholic is not a pushover. That's not a rollover team, not by any stretch. And we felt like from the summer that Marian Catholic's strength was going to be on defense. Felt like Coach Lopez told us, returning players thought they might be a little more balanced and a little stronger on defense. So that does surprise me a little bit. Joe Maris goes in to score again. That game is 35-0 over Marmion. Marmion was right there, couldn't convert on 4th and goal. Maris went right back down the field to make it 35-0. Looks like Naz is still up 56-14. Again, that game is a running clock against Bennett. That is with 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter, and Mount Carmel is back in the red zone. Against Fenwick, up 28-10 with just 1:56 left to go in that game. So some games coming down to the end here, and it's like my games seem to be all pretty much in control. Again, we've lost a video feed from Notre Dame, Leo. That was 21-0. It seemed like Notre Dame had that in hand. That's got to be close to a final as well. I don't know what the score is. If we have a correspondent out there, they certainly feel free to let us know, send us a message, anything to give us an update.
Yeah, feel free. Yeah, I like the way you put that, Dan. We'd love to have people checking in with us, right, and chatting. They don't need to talk.
Right.
Yeah. They can just sign in and put something in the chat. We would love that too.
Yeah.
But if not, you and I are happy to keep talking and talking and talking, right? I know we are.
Yes, we can do that.
So as we've been talking and talking, the Providence Marian Catholic game has gone final, and the final score there is 34-6, Providence over Marian Catholic. So I believe now that Providence is 4-4, right, going into their last game of the year, who I don't know who they play right now, but
let's look. I can look.
Yeah,
find that out.
This is a big game for them. They needed to win this game against Marian Catholic. Marian Catholic, I think, is 2-6, maybe.
So Providence moves to 4-4. Yeah, Marian Catholic goes to 2-6. Providence wraps up with Joliet Catholic. So their schedule has been tough. So regardless of what happens, win or lose in that last game, they'll be one to follow. Doing the math, we talked about that on the Prognosticus episode, that there are going to be teams out there with your pencil and paper doing a lot of scrambling and adding and subtracting to see how their points line up with the rest of the field.
Monster game next week, Providence and Joliet Catholic.
Yeah, and a rivalry game too.
Rivalry,
So,
yeah.
Yep. I could get the map out and tell you just how close they are.
Could you please do that? I missed that, Dan. You were doing that a lot more earlier. Earlier in the year, it was 4.2 miles, 3.7 miles, 6.2 miles. So tell me.
All right, so I clearly don't have this in correctly because it says 983 miles.
That is going to be a terrible
commute, right?
Yes.
Joliet, Providence Catholic to Joliet Catholic is 7.4 miles.
That's close. So a lot of those kids played against each other growing up.
Without
right?
a doubt. Yeah,
For
without
sure.
a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which always makes it fun, interesting. You know, you got guys who are competing really hard against one another, and people they've played against and with forever. Probably some guys played on the same youth teams. So that'll be interesting, and you know, backs against the wall time for Providence, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For Providence,
because Joliet Catholic got the forfeit for De La Salle this week.
Yeah.
So they move. They're automatically to 5-3. So they're in, but they certainly would like to get a better seed in 5A. You know, than a 5-4 team. So that's going to be hang a star on that one, as I like to say.
All right. Yeah, you do like to say that. So can I put you on the spot again?
Sure.
So how important do you think it is in the playoffs from a seeding standpoint? You just mentioned, Joliet Catholic would like to get a better seed. So hopefully, they'd like to win that last game against Providence. How much do you think that plays into it for a team, say, for example, like Joliet Catholic? If they go in 5-4, they go in 6-3, they'd probably be an 7 or 8 seed, something like that.
Yeah, and a 5-4 puts you down, down
even further,
or half. Yeah,
right.
So in 5A in particular, I think you'd want to avoid Naz, right? Even though they played, they'd have the revenge factor on their side, so I think you'd want to avoid that, and you don't want to come up against a team you don't know much about that could be really loaded. I talked about generational teams that some schools have. It's not always to say that a generational team is going to lose to a traditional powerhouse like Joliet Catholic, but so I think you'd like to raise your odds a little bit. If you're Joliet Catholic, and the bump between 5-4 and 6-3 feels pretty significant to me. So you're going to have some of these teams that are 5-3 that are really trying to get to 6-3 so they can avoid those top 4 seeds, let's say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, depending on how many of the 4 and 5s get in. Right now, if I'm if I look like I'm going to be a 5-4 team, I'm hoping a whole bunch of 4 and 5s get in. Because they will eat up the top seeds. But if they're not in, 5-4, you're looking at a 9-0 or an 8-1.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. But I guess it gets skewed a little bit by the teams in the Chicago Catholic League, because I think if you take into account more than just their record, you might rank them a lot higher than what their seed might be in their class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the playoff points for teams with same records will reflect that.
Yeah. Okay.
But like you said, if I have a worse record than another team from another conference downstate or whatever it might be, it could get skewed. I know in the past some schools, Chicago Catholic League or other schools have gone in to face an undefeated public school or a public league school and have defeated them, just because the level of competition is so different,
Right.
in some of these leagues. So I know they've tried to change that with who gets in from the Chicago public schools, but they are really, really sometimes at a disadvantage just based on their regular season schedule.
Yeah. One thing I read this week, Dan, was that prior to this week, it was going to be the only public league schools that were going to go get into the playoffs were those that won their divisions in the public league.
Right.
Now they changed that. They're adding another 4 teams from the public league, the next best in each of the divisions. So that kind of threw everything out of whack a little bit as far as how many 4 and 5 teams, that kind of thing. So, so we've now got, when they were talking about maybe 8 to 12, 4 and 5 teams, now they're talking maybe about 4 or 5, 3 to 5, somewhere in that range.
All right.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we're talking here, Dan, the St. Lawrence Brother Rice game goes final. That's Brother Rice 35-6 over St. Lawrence, a final there.
Okay, why don't you run through your scores, Joe? So it's been a few minutes. We can go through the scores again. Just if we've got some of these games that have ended early, people are getting connected and listening and looking for some scores in the Catholic League.
Yeah, let me run through a couple here, Dan. And so the first one, and this has gone final, IC beats St. Viator 41-28 tonight out in Elmhurst at IC. That puts IC at 4-4. St. Viator now is 3-5. Backs against the wall, really in trouble. The Providence Marian Catholic game. Providence 34-6 over Marian Catholic. So Providence, they also go to 4-4 now, and they've got a game coming up next week against Joliet Catholic, which will determine maybe or not whether they get into the playoffs. So Providence has a big game next week. They win 34-6 tonight against Marian. St. Lawrence Brother Rice. Brother Rice, 35-6, and this is final over St. Lawrence. So St. Lawrence goes to 6-2. Brother Rice now 5-3, right? I believe so. Yeah. Brother Rice has won their last 4 games in a row, I think now. So they're 5-3. Let me check the Loyola Carmel game. This is in the fourth quarter. They still got 11 minutes left here, and Loyola up 34-10 over Carmel right now in the fourth quarter with 11 minutes left.
Okay. All right. I'll run through the scores that I have. Games still going on. We've got Nazareth, huge lead over Bennett, running clock 62-14 with 11 minutes and 24 seconds left in the game. Gone final. We've got Mount Carmel just defeated Fenwick 35-10. So that game is a final. That's kind of a surprise score. We've got St. Rita with a running clock over St. Pat's. That was 48-7. And then our last reporting from Montini, that game was still going on. They had a 28-7 lead over St. Ignatius. At last reporting, it was 21-0 Notre Dame over Leo. And a final, no, not a final, I'm sorry, excuse me. Marist is up on Marmion 35-0.
35-0 over Marmion. Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have any games down to the wire, right?
No, we don't. But I'm efforting right now to see if I've still got it showing 7-7 to Paul and St. Francis. I just have a feeling that is not the score.
Right.
So I am looking right now to
So
see
the
if
Montini game has gone final, Joe. Just following on social media, Montini
Okay.
defeats St. Ignatius 28-7 to move to 6-2.
6-2.
Yeah,
and
so
Ignatius is in trouble.
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are. St. Ignatius is now 3-5.
With one game left, I'm not sure who they play in that game, but
They play Brother Rice.
yeah, they're really BATW.
Oh yeah, they are.
They are.
Yeah. That's too bad. They're good. They're good.
Really good.
Really
yeah.
good team. Yeah, with great players.
So CCL'd? Would you say CCL'd for them?
For sure.
All
Sure.
right.
And I mean, if you look at some of their scores, they've played. They're in the blue division, so they played really tough teams. They beat St. Viator 36-13. They played Mount Carmel as close as anyone. Lost 45-24. Beat IC 31-14. So lost by 10. Tough loss to Fenwick. 34-24. So they've had some ups and downs. I know that they did have some injuries, to people that mattered. So interesting to see them, kind of fall off here and see it. We'll have to see how they do against Brother Rice, because if they can get 4 wins, they'd be a team to watch.
Yeah, they would for sure. Although they're going to be 8-8, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But still, like you said, a team to watch. So Dan, I have been able to find an updated score. Like I said on the broadcast, they're not keeping the score updated here. So I've been looking through some of the information on X out there, and it looks like St. Francis and DePaul. St. Francis just scored in the third quarter, and St. Francis is up 28-21 over DePaul.
Oh, that's a good game. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's our one good one so far. So Marist just scored again to go up 41 or 42-0. So that will be a running clock for the last 4 minutes. Joe, I mean, how many running clocks do we have tonight? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Would you have thought that in week 8 that we would have running clocks?
I mean, it maybe just how the schedule lines up. We talked about it early, where some of these some of the differences within the division and the size. When you look at some of the school sizes that are playing one another here, maybe I guess I always hope for someone to maybe, I mean, Marist's in classification enrollment is almost 2,700 kids.
Yeah.
Right. And I can check and see what Marmion's is. I know it's not 2,700.
No. And is Marmion still all boys, or?
They are, but I think this classification takes into account the multipliers. And
got it.
So
Yeah.
Marmion is listed at 1,041. So not tiny, but I think that probably translates to 520 total students. Maybe,
Yeah.
So,
Again, why do we have to make this so difficult?
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
You've got 540 boys. That translates to 1,363 if you were to be boys and girls school.
Right. Don't ask us how we got that number.
Right.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That
So
probably is an easier way. I think it's okay to tweak this stuff, and I really do, to try and figure it out to keep up. It just seems like maybe it has to be this way. The tail's wagging the dog, right? So the schools make adaptations and change how they operate, and the IHSA follows, and then the schools change again, and the IHSA has to respond. So I think I don't think there's any shortage of phone calls going into the IHSA people about what people would like to see in some of these schools, and there's probably threats and all sorts of things going on. But
Right.
so I feel for those people at the IHSA. They certainly can call us or hop on a podcast. I think a future podcast, Joe, get someone from the IHSA on.
All right.
That should be a goal. I think that's a good goal for us.
I think
Voices.
I agree with you, Dan. And I think we have some people who follow us on X from the IHSA. I think one of their IHSA updates, one of their scoring things. So maybe we just say, hey, we don't understand this and we need you to explain it to us. Could you please come on one of our podcasts? And we'll get them.
Yeah,
right.
And maybe even more, what are you going to do about some of the disparity that we see, year in and year out? Now, a lot of that disparity favors the Chicago Catholic League. That's we see things like last year where several champions, state runners up, semifinalists all come from the Catholic League. So I think, I don't know if Catholic League schools would vote for something that makes significant changes and tries to even the odds a little bit. But while it's a big football conference, a mega conference, as we called it, they only have 24 voices. So I think there's a lot of people that would like to see some different things in the IHSA playoffs.
All right, Dan, I got a bit of a correction on one of the games, the IC Viator game. Looks like the score on that final is 48-28. IC over St. Viator. Also got an update. It looks like that the DePaul St. Francis is tied up 28-28 in the fourth quarter.
All right, there we go. There's our game to follow.
Yes.
You have that one on video, right?
No. I know. I'd love to follow it, Dan, but I've got it on video. I'm looking at it. It says 7-7.
But the game is active. So if you assume 28-28 from where you're watching right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Liven it up. I'm not
That's right.
Not you, but the
come on, liven it up, will you?
Put a spring in your step. No, that's
all right.
Yeah, because all these games, if they aren't final, so the Marist game just went final. They were 42-0 over Marmion.
6.
So they go to 7-1.
I still Marmion, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Marmion falls to, I think, 4-4. So
4-4, right?
Marmion.
Who do they play next week?
Marmion might be interesting. Let me see here. Oh, no, that's Marion. I'm sorry. So Marmion has Leo next week. So I would say, no disrespect to anyone, they'd be the favorite against Leo. So they would move to 5-4, and they're I think they might be a 3 or 4A team, but so that'll be interesting to follow and really exciting for Marmion if they can pull off that victory in the last week.
Yeah, it will be for sure.
But they still probably feel they definitely would be at backs against the wall playing a NTW, nothing to lose. No, NTL, nothing to lose.
NTW, what would that be?
Just gonna have nothing to win.
Nothing to win.
Yeah.
We would never say that about our friends at Leo. Yeah.
Boy, that game, my Notre Dame Leo game. Speaking of that never came back. The video just stopped, and it just keeps going to the same place and hangs up.
Huh.
So.
All right. What was the score before it hung up on you?
21-0 Notre Dame over Leo. That was just before halftime.
Yeah, I thought Leo maybe was going to put something together tonight, and be able to keep that a close game at least. And I think I might have picked Leo in this, Dan, maybe as a bit of an upset. But doesn't look like that's going to happen, does it?
Nope. And the Nazareth defeats Bennett. That just went final 62-14. That's a whole bunch of points for the Roadrunners. They have a potent offense. They are loaded.
Yes, they are. We are. I'll say we are excited about Bennett getting back into the playoffs this year. They got their 5 wins and they got them pretty early. But what does it say, Dan? Last week getting blown out by Fenwick, this week getting blown out by Nazareth. Who do they play the last game of the year?
DePaul Prep.
DePaul Prep. That should be a good game, but who knows?
Bennett's reeling a little bit. They and it feels like they have some of the. I'm going to put them and St. Viator in a similar bucket. Some potent offenses that can do some things, but maybe getting exposed defensively a little bit, or what might be the bigger issue, Joe, is for both those teams. I think when we talked to those coaches over the summer, they were both programs that were concerned about numbers. And, to take it all the way back to July and August when we started doing this, and we, one of the focuses each week was, how are your numbers? Whether we talked about it on the podcast or off the air,
right.
It was always an issue, and we felt like some schools, I can think namely of like DePaul and St. Lawrence, and numbers were going up, right? Fenwick, I think their numbers were good too. St. Ignatius, great numbers there.
Right.
Loyola always has good numbers. But some schools, Bennett, St. Viator, they were a little concerned about numbers just from a depth perspective. You've got some talent, but it's like, man, we can't lose one guy. It makes the waterfall effect it has on our team is huge. And so maybe you're seeing some of that. I'm not saying that is the case, but because St. Francis doesn't have great numbers, Montini doesn't have great numbers, both doing very well. So they've got, they've found a way to overcome that, but I think St. Viator and Bennett might be suffering from some of the numbers, and it's exposing itself on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, Dan, and you and I have talked about several episodes that we will do and topics for those episodes. After the season and the playoffs are over. And I think we're accumulating a pretty good list of that, but what you just talked about there would be really an interesting topic for us to cover in a future episode sometime over the winter. And we'll do that, right? Yeah. I think it's, because there's a lot of questions about those kinds of things. What really makes a difference with some of these programs, where some teams have their numbers are trending up, others their numbers are trending down. Why is that? So
it'd be good to get people's perspectives on it. Say, have some coaches on to
some
just
coaches
talk numbers. Coaches are willing to talk about it and find out what they're doing about it, what they think. Joe, I listen to other podcasts other than Varsity Voices, believe it or not. So,
Dan.
Yeah, I do. And one is coaching football. I am that guy. I listen to coaching football. It's high school football coaches. I think they're from Texas, but it's a good podcast. And they were talking about some of the things that they do to help their numbers and to get more athletes. And, they were creative but they also say it kind of starts with having a little bit of success that will help. And they also talked about recruiting the hallways, getting some kids who may not have played in junior high but weren't going to play in high school, or maybe they've had a growth spurt and now they're big kids and they'd be they could help you on the football field. Maybe they thought they wanted to focus on another sport and said, I'm baseball only, or I'm basketball only, or whatever that might be. To get some of those kids out is a step, and it sounds like it's hard work, and I don't doubt it. Just to build your program up 4, 5, 6 players sounds like it's a challenge. So yeah, something for us to discuss this winter for sure.
Yeah, but 4, 5, 6 players a year, however you get them, whether it's walking your hallways and you find some kids, or you're out and you're recruiting, and we can say that because we know the schools do it. They just don't talk about it all that much. But 4 or 5 players a year can make a huge difference, don't you think?
You get to 10 to 12, right, over 2 classes. There's 10 to 12 kids added to your varsity team. You go from 45 to 57. Practice changes, your depth chart changes. Some players come out. You might have a stud or 2 out of those that didn't realize that they were going to be as good as they were. They just needed a little coaching and belief. So yeah, definitely something we don't want to do that podcast now.
We don't. No, we don't. I know.
Are your games? What's happening in DePaul Prep?
DePaul Prep. So I've got a bit of an update here, and it's from scouring social media. But DePaul Prep is up 35-28 now at the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter. So that was 8 minutes ago. That's the latest update on that one, Dan. The Viator IC game has gone final. Bit of an update there, 48-28. IC over Viator. And I've got one other game, which is under 7 minutes to go, and that is Loyola and Carmel. Loyola 34-10 over Carmel.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let me run down my scores real quick, Joe, for you. Just to recap, Nazareth defeats Bennett 62-14. Mount Carmel defeats Fenwick 35-10. St. Rita over St. Patrick's 48-7. We've got Montini with a victory over St. Ignatius 28-7. Notre Dame at last reporting was 21-0 over Leo, and Marist defeats Marmion 42-0.
All right, and I believe the Loyola Carmel game has gone final. Dan, 34-10, Loyola over Carmel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, do you think this is a nod to us on Montini's social media page? It says Vincono y Broncos, which translates to win or to conquer in Italian.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a nod to us, right?
Yes. So we will take that nod and we will return that nod in some way or form going forward, Dan.
Grazie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And we appreciate, our correspondent checking in from the Montini game as well, Dave Arian. So
yeah, they're really engaged. They seem like they're a lot of fun. If people are looking to go watch a fun team that seems to be playing for one another and having a great high school season, go check out Montini.
And they're a really good football team.
Really good.
Right.
Really
they
good.
are. It's interesting as we've watched and covered these teams and games over the course of the year, you can see how teams are really starting to kind of gel. They're starting to get some momentum going. They're kind of peaking at the right point.
Yeah.
I think of DePaul Prep, and I think of Montini in that way as well. Brother Rice, you got to throw them in there, right?
Yeah.
So it's really
maybe
interesting.
St. Francis.
Maybe St. Francis.
I feel like St. Francis has maybe done that a little bit too.
Yeah, except right now they're losing against DePaul Prep. So, but yeah, I think these teams are playing well, and I feel like some of these teams that are on the bubble, so to speak, are at the 4-win mark or 5-win mark. get them into the playoffs, and they're going to do some damage because we know the type of competition they faced, throughout the season, the regular season so far.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Who else do we have, Dan? Did I say, that game is final? So the only game that I believe is still going on for me is the DePaul St. Francis game, and of course that's the one I can't really get. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that's really, really fun. Do
Yeah.
they are they any team driving? Can you tell who has the ball where or anything?
Let's see. St. Francis, Spartans answer with a great drive, 35-35, tie game, 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That was 3 minutes ago, Dan.
Okay. And
So
where's that game at, Joe?
That is at St. Francis. I'm going to see if I can reload it or something. If that does anything.
Where were you watching it on?
NFHS.
Okay.
NFHS. Let me see.
I'm giving it a shot too, just to see. So
All right.
we can both kind of watch that game.
Every time I reboot it, I've got to then mute it. It may be, well, I don't know. You look at it, Dan, and you tell me what you think. I'm trying to decide if they just have not updated the score or the quarter, and I'm still watching the actual game live.
Yeah. I've got what looks like DePaul Prep on the 40-yard line with the football.
Yes.
Again, the score is the same.
7-7.
Big hit in the backfield on a kind of a quick screen out to the side.
Do you have a 7-7 score on your screen?
Yes.
All right. And it shows it's in the second quarter?
It does. 3rd and 3.
Mm-hmm.
When it's really looks like it's about 2nd and 13.
Yes, it does. All right, we're watching the same thing, so it's not just me. All right. So for those of you who don't know, when we sign off, Dan yells at me when I make mistakes.
I'm coming over there.
Come on, what's wrong with you? Spartans answer. The last I have is Spartans answer with a great drive, 35-35, 9 minutes left. All right.
Joe, we can talk a little bit about these two teams. This is always cool watching the blue field too. So St. Francis has
the
blue field like Boise State. Definitely set themselves apart. You always know who St. Francis is because they say, "Oh yeah, we're the team with the blue field." So, but a lot of blue going on here. DePaul Prep. These teams have almost identical colors.
They do.
No, not tonight. St. Francis is in the dark blue. I'm thinking
it is. St. Francis is in the dark blue. We've got DePaul Prep in the white. Yeah, but two teams that are. I mean, DePaul Prep. We interviewed Coach Passarella earlier before the season even started, and he said some things to us, Dan, and you and I talked afterwards, and we thought that is a team which is kind of on the rise.
Yeah,
right? We can see that happening this year. We heard that from several coaches, but it has really turned out to be the case with DePaul Prep. They've taken that next step, and you can literally see it when you watch them play and look at their record.
Yeah, and I think they are one of these teams that they have been pointing to this year. They probably knew halfway. They probably knew before these kids even enrolled. When they saw the group coming in as freshmen that are now seniors, Juju Rodriguez, I think Braden Peavy, Matt Osterman.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jet Reese is a junior. I think, but they have a lot of stuff coming together. Their enrollment is in the school is up. So mentioned just a few minutes ago that that they're a team that has not struggled with numbers. They've seen their numbers increase. So all those things, that coach listed during our interview, it made us hang up with him and say, oh yeah, they're a team to watch. They haven't been in the playoffs, but we think that's about to change. So, it was an easy but a good prediction by us that DePaul Prep was going to be on the rise, and one of these teams in the Catholic League that you're not only going to have to watch this year, but you're going to have to pay attention to for several years to come. They may be established this year, right?
Yeah.
This might be the first year of many that they make a playoff run. Now it'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen other quarterbacks. They've been in pretty tight games. So we've seen a lot of Juju Rodriguez. Thankfully they've stayed healthy.
They have.
It'll be interesting to see how they do. Replacing a lot of these guys, in the years to come. But I think they feel like their program has taken a step and it's on really solid footing.
Well, if you put any any weight or any credence into how the sophomore game went tonight between DePaul Prep and St. Francis, and what that says for DePaul Prep's program, I think the final score was maybe 35-7. DePaul Prep beat St. Francis in the sophomore game. So. Like you said, Coach Passarella has done a great job in, getting kids into the program, getting the interest in the school, getting the alumni involved, getting the administration involved. Everybody is behind him. They've got a real, you talk about program, people throw that word around a lot, but they've got a real program going on there at DePaul Prep.
Yeah, and it's going to do nothing but get better because they're committed, and they're not only committed as football coaches, because all football coaches are committed or should be committed. But they
in one way or the other.
But they've got the administration behind them, and it's interesting that within the first 2 minutes of our discussion with Coach Passarella, he mentioned Tom Kleinschmidt and how him being a Chicago name that, people who have kids, high school age kids, their parents remember Tom Kleinschmidt at DePaul. He was a huge deal, player of the year for basketball, but it's still a draw, and I think all these schools can probably say there are 1, 2, or 3 kids that come there thinking I'm a basketball player that turn out to be a hell of a football player. And so it's all that stuff, kind of feeds into one another. And, regarding the sophomore games, sometimes I pay attention to those. Sometimes I don't. I think St. Francis is a team that is like Nazareth in that, they aren't, not in a bad way, but in a good way, they're classless. So they don't see classes. They put their best players.
For sure.
They put their best players on varsity, and they want them to get that varsity coaching, that sort of thing. So I think DePaul might be one where they are, they might have that special talent that comes up as a freshman or sophomore. I think they may be trying, because their classes are so big, to keep them together.
Yeah, they might be, because I know we've got some of the younger DePaul players that I've seen on X and follow us, and we follow them obviously, but there's 2 brothers there, Dan, who are linemen. Their last name is Rios. The one who's a sophomore is 6'5", 310.
Whoa.
Already. Maybe I've got it a little wrong, but not much. I don't have it much wrong. And then there's a freshman who's 6'2", another Rios brother, 6'2", like 260 pounds. So they've got some kids coming in, some kids in the program. Coach Passarella has got that humming there, and we're going to be able to watch that, over the next years. because they may continue to take real positive steps, over the course of the next few years. We know they took a big one this year, getting in the playoffs, and I think I don't know what division or what class they're going to be in, but they're going to be a tough opponent in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think I saw them. I'm going to check here. I think I saw them listed in 4A, maybe.
Yeah, and maybe ranked like 13th or something like that.
Yeah, they'll be a handful. Boy, Joan, as we're watching, Brady Palmer. Man, we're talking about the Paul Prep, but Brady Palmer's really good.
Yes,
gosh, that was just a really nice play. Flushed out of the pocket, rolling to his left. He's a right-handed quarterback. Squares his shoulder, throws the ball 20 yards downfield. The receiver does a great job in the scramble drill. Big first down, driving against DePaul. Moves into DePaul's territory. They're at the 35-yard line. First down, 1st and 10. We don't know how much time is left. I don't know if that makes it more exciting or it drives me crazier. but this one's definitely coming down to the wire, and what turns out to be the game of the week in the Catholic League, because I don't even know if there were any other games within one score.
I don't think so. I'm looking at some of the scores that I have here. Any of them that were close? No. 35-6, 34-10. 48.
Who are they, Joe? Maybe we run through the scores again for people getting in their cars.
Yeah. All right. Good. So let me go. Let's go with IC and St. Viator. So IC wins this game 41-28 over St. Viator. Let's see. The other game, and this one's still going on, is St. Francis and DePaul. That's 35-35, I think, tied up in the fourth quarter. So the other finals, Providence, a 34-6 winner over Marian Catholic. We've got St. Lawrence and Brother Rice. Brother Rice, a big win, 35-6 over St. Lawrence. And the other game, Dan, is the Loyola Carmel game. And Loyola wins this game 34-10 over Carmel.
Okay. All right. And I'll run through my scores as well, so we can keep an eye on this game, and we'll do both. We'll walk and chew gum at the same time. So I've got Marist over Marmion 42-0. At last reporting, Notre Dame over Leo 21-0, but that was at the half. Montini over St. Ignatius 28-7. St. Rita defeats St. Pat's 48-7. Mount Carmel defeats Fenwick 35-10, and Nazareth beats Bennett 62-14. So, and this one we believe is 35-35 in the fourth quarter.
I believe it is 35-35 in the fourth quarter. I'm checking again here. Yes, that was at the 9-minute mark. Looking to see if there's any kind of update. Let me check. I do see there's something here.
There's something.
There's something. No, nothing. No update.
No, there's not something. There's nothing.
I'm sorry, everybody. I hate that. It still shows 35-35 with 9 minutes left to go in the game. It's got to be the end of the game.
Both teams are throwing every single play. So I can remember a time when at Northwestern, when Gary Barnett was there and he talked about playing Notre Dame, and he said, we're going to throw the ball 75 times. The game's going to be 5 hours and 20 minutes. And that's what happens when these teams throw the ball like this.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so every incompletion, the clock stops, and so we get a much longer game, which is what we have here.
Well, if we're watching real time, Dan, IC would have the ball inside the 20-yard line of DePaul Prep. Is that what you're watching?
St. Francis.
Or St. Francis. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yep.
St. Francis inside the 20-yard line of DePaul.
Yeah, it looks like fourth down now. So we'll see. They've got a decision to make. So I don't know if they're taking it. Doesn't look like they're taking a timeout. But they definitely have a decision to make in the fourth quarter. It looks like they're going to go for it. Brady Palmer's coming back out on the field, so they're going to go for this fourth down to keep this drive alive. I would imagine. Boy, so here's when you really want a good field goal kicker, right?
It is. Were you able to see any kind of time left?
Nope.
No, me neither. So fourth down. So they're throwing it.
Yeah, looks like they converted. So they convert. You can't see. Another beautiful thing about high school internet broadcasting is that you can't see the very edge of the end zone on the near side. So always it may be something they can look at. We talk about how we're going to improve in the off season. So
right.
I did see the St. Francis coaches waving their arms like to the clock operator at the high school, who's like a sophomore, English teacher who just gets like $35 to run the clock, but doesn't really know what he's doing. So that's my guess anyway. So they're like,
they're doing this. Come on, bro. Yeah.
Yes. He's rolling his arms frantically. So I imagine we're getting down to the end of the game here. So St. Francis with the ball right at the 5-yard line, first down. See if what they're going to do. They might be trying to run it to put it in position for a field goal. If they score, great. But this is an exciting finish in the Catholic League.
It is, and they're right down there. What? They're inside the 5-yard line now.
Yes. Second down.
That's St. Francis. Second down. I can see that. Across the field, I see the bright neon 2 for the second down.
Yeah, second and goal at the 4.
Okay. Yeah, what we don't know, and we'll tell our listeners this: we don't know how much time is left, and we think the score is 35-35, right?
But it's exciting nonetheless.
It's so exciting. Boy, tight splits. Boy, they almost snapped it over Brady Palmer's head, but that was a good play by him to grab that.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. So, correspondent saying there's 3 minutes left here, so we'll see if that's accurate. So, we are getting a quick check in here.
And did they have the score too, or not?
Yeah, Joe, I've got it. So on YouTube, so able to find this with the scoreboard on YouTube, which is always fun. 35-35, 1 minute, 40 seconds remaining.
On YouTube, all right. I'm trying to go there right now.
This turned into like one of our, what looked like it was going to be a short broadcast into.
Yeah, this game. So how did you find it? Is it under, let's see, who's the home team? It's St. Francis, right?
Yes.
St. Francis football. No, I'm not downloading anything. Huh. How'd you find it?
Of course, it just reset and went back to the beginning of the game.
Of course.
I need that little live button,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How come I'm not finding it?
Here we are. I got the special super secret internet password.
Oh, wait. Live, on demand. It's saying all the right words, Dan.
Yes.
But it takes me to NFHS.
Yeah, no, I've got it. It's youtube.com. Right now there's a timeout on the field. So 35-35, 1 minute, 40 seconds left.
Oh, did they just snap it over his head?
God bless America. It just went off on me.
I think they just snapped it over Brady Palmer's head. And it put him all the way back at the 20 24-yard line. They were inside the 5. If what I'm watching is current. They got their commercials nailed, Dan.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That plays just fine. Yeah. Anyways.
So do you have it on YouTube, Joe, or no?
No. When I clicked on what I found on YouTube, it took me to NFHS.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I know this is probably thrilling for our listeners.
This is some thrilling podcasting here.
Right. Yeah. It's so frustrating. I do see the DePaul prep players jumping on the sideline. Not sure what that means. DePaul prep athletics. Can't make it out tonight. Spartans on the Rams 3-yard line, 35-35. Oh, so this must be good. St. Francis is trying to kick a field goal. I think they were on the 3, snap over the head. Now they're out kicking a field goal. That does not look good to me. It is not. So what that says to me, if I'm piecing together the different pieces of information, Dan, is still 35-35. St. Francis just missed it's probably a 35-yard field goal. There's got to be less than a minute left to go in this game.
Wow.
So you know what's going to be really good, Dan, for our listeners?
What's that?
Is it's going to go into overtime.
Right.
Right.
We can only hope.
Yeah. Whoops. It says it looks like I'm trying to stream in more than one place. Don't you dare.
They've got that technology down too, right?
They've got that nailed. Uh-huh. All right. I don't think I am.
With every step, we carry hope, and together we celebrate every win. We carry the memories of those we remember, and we keep.
Okay. You know what I'd like to do, Dan? Is
Drive to Wheaton.
I would. Can we go through the final scores just one more time?
Sure.
That we've got, because we've only got one game that's still open, right?
Yep.
All right. So, all right. I'll go first. So I've got the IC St. Viator game. You know, IC 48-28 winner over St. Viator. IC goes to 4-4. St. Viator goes to 3-5. The Providence Marian Catholic game. Providence 34-6 over Marian Catholic. Providence goes to 4-4, and Marian Catholic goes to 2-6. The other games, St. Lawrence and Brother Rice. Brother Rice, big win here, 35-6 over St. Lawrence. Brother Rice now goes to 5-3, I believe, and St. Lawrence goes to 6-2. Carmel and Loyola Academy. Loyola Academy wins this game 34-10. Loyola now 6-2. Carmel backs against the wall, now 3-5. The other game I had, Dan, and we're still working on this one, is St. Francis and DePaul. We believe this game is tied 35-35, coming up the end of the game. So we'll see if this goes into overtime. What do you got, Dan, as far as scores?
Sure. So I have Nazareth moving to 7-1, defeating Bennett 62-14. That drops Bennett to 5-3. I've got Mount Carmel defeating Fenwick 35-10. Both those teams now at 6-2. I have St. Rita. St. Rita goes to 6-2, I believe, as well. Over St. Pat's. St. Pat's moves to 2-6. So that the final in that game was 48-7. Montini also 6-2, right, Joe? And as they defeat St. Ignatius, who drops to 3-5. We've got Notre Dame. Notre Dame was up 21-0 at our last reporting. A victory there would move them to 3-5 and drop Leo to 1-7. And then we've got Marist. Marist moves to 7-1. So they defeat Marmion 42-0, dropping Marmion to 5-3.
Okay. All right, so that's our finals for all the games, and we've only got one left out there, Dan, which we're working real hard to see if we can get some updates here. I think DePaul Prep just went 3-out. It looked like to me, and they had to punt. I'm not sure how much time is left, but IC is going to take the ball over inside the DePaul Prep 50-yard line. So I would think there's got to be seconds left here, under a minute, under 2 minutes, just based on maybe some of the other information we've gotten over the last couple minutes. But both teams are going back out there on the field. DePaul Prep on defense, St. Francis on offense, and we'll see what happens here, Dan.
Yeah, this is clearly been the game of the night, for us as far as excitement goes. Both these teams, really good football teams. Both have great offenses, some standouts defensively as well. But not surprised that this game is coming down to the wire.
No, I'm not either. I think we said these two teams were in our preview prognosticus episode that these two teams were probably the most evenly matched teams in a while as far as games or teams that were going up against each other. I think they're very similar in amount of points scored, amount of points against, their records as well, even though, DePaul Prep was a little bit, had a couple more wins than St. Francis, but really evenly matched teams. And here we are, Dan, coming down to the wire, tied up. So I think we called that right.
Yeah, this is one that made a lot of sense for it to be as close as it is.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like neither team can move the ball. Coming down to it here in the at the end of the game. So DePaul Prep, they went 3-out, punted away. St. Francis got the ball inside the DePaul Prep 50-yard line. They haven't moved it a yard. Brady Palmer just threw that ball away at the end of that play, and now I believe they've got fourth down, and it looks like they've got about 20 or 25 yards to go here, Dan. It's hard to tell what down it is. It looks like maybe fourth, or it could even be first down. I'll let you know in a second. Yeah, this is fun. I love it. Yeah. No. St. Francis is running this play. They're trying to run it along the sidelines, which I get if there's not much time left, but it's not being very successful here. So I think they might have gained 2 or 3 yards on that. Oh, that looks like it might be third down if I'm reading the neon marker correct. Boy.
Yeah. It's hard to do with kind of half a video stream.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at it in a. It's about 6x6, about a 6x6 screen. Yeah.
And you can't give us exact details on what's happening there?
No, I can't.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. 35-35. Boy, I would love to get some updated information on this, Dan.
Yeah, we could use a correspondent to check in.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to happen, but the one thing I am looking at, we've got 23 or 22 out of 24 teams that we've been able to get right.
Yeah.
Right?
We-
All right.
Good
So
percentage.
I will take that
Yeah.
any day of the week. Yeah. But I would love to know, because this is a really good game. I'd love to know what's going on here and feel good about it. Right.
Those are two different things.
Right. Did you said Mount Carmel 35, Fenwick 10, right?
Yeah, and what some of the marquee games that we had kind of pointed to in our previous episode, Mount Carmel and Fenwick was definitely going to be one. It looked like it was going to be in the first half. The game went back and forth with Mount Carmel and Fenwick exchanging the lead, but Mount Carmel did what they do. Outstanding passing game, played solid defense, and pulled away 35-10. So both those teams go to 6-2. They're really good teams. Fenwick's another. Mount Carmel would be 7A. Fenwick would be, I think, 5A. 5A or 6A. So those are. That's a really great matchup, and I think Fenwick will finish off the season. Let me see who they have here. Fenwick has got. It'll be within their division, so Fenwick will close with Carmel.
Carmel. Yeah,
at
I was
home,
just thinking
so.
they haven't played yet.
Yeah.
So I think, Dan, are you still watching this feed?
I'm not. I gave up.
Okay, I actually think the feed is correct. What we're not getting is the correct score or
Right.
how much time is left.
Sure.
Because what I just looked at and just talked about with the missed field goal, that is being reported right now as well. So, after a missed field goal by St. Francis, then the Rams went 3 and out. DePaul went 3 and out. Spartans or St. Francis with the ball on the 44-yard line with 20 seconds left. And I have a feeling this game has gone to overtime, Dan, if I'm reading this correctly or viewing this correctly on the feed. So can you remind me what the overtime rules are in high school?
Yeah, both teams will get a possession from the 10-yard line. So they'll have a coin flip to see who goes first, and then both teams will get 4 plays from the 10, and they'll go back and forth until they have a winner. So usually don't get the crazy long overtimes like you do in college.
Right.
I don't know if it's unlimited. That's where my rules knowledge stops with overtime for high school, but I do know they start from the 10-yard line. Both teams will get a possession, so that's what they're determining right now if they're looking at the kick.
Yeah, so I think there was actually one more play in regulation that took place. St. Francis had the ball. Brady Palmer just ran it out of bounds, so it must have been only a couple seconds. Looks like now they're going to come out for. Do they do a coin toss? Did you just say that?
Yeah.
Yep, they're coming out. They're going to start overtime here, Dan. So lucky us and lucky listeners, we get more football.
Yes. Bonus football.
Yeah. But at least now I feel confident knowing that I'm watching something which is valid. Even if, the score on the screen is not good, the time is not good. At least the footage seems to be good. So, let me see here. Yeah, the captains are coming out. They're going to flip the coin. Do you know who number 2 is off the top of your head from St. Francis?
Come on.
Let's see. Yeah, this is serious business, right? They only send out. It's not like before the game starts. You got 5 captains on each side going out there.
Right. Might
One
be
guy.
Ian Willis, Joe. Ian Willis is looks to be number 2 for St. Francis.
One guy from each team goes out there for the overtime. Yep. Number 2 for St. Francis. I didn't see who it was for DePaul Prep, but let's see who's getting the ball here on first. And they do mark it. What'd you say, from the 10? Maybe
From the 10. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like they're going to mark it at the 10.
Where are you watching this game, Joe?
NFHS.
All right.
Yeah. And it is, since let's see, who's the home team? St. Francis is a home team. You'll find it by searching St. Francis on NFHS. Yeah.
Got it. I'm rolling through. They're very well timed, very well produced, very spot on commercials.
Right. We'd like you to watch this commercial, this 30-second commercial first, before we move to the overtime.
Yes. And the commercial will be perfect.
All right. So
no glitches.
DePaul Prep gets the ball first, Dan, on the 10-yard line. See what they do with it here. In overtime, game tied 35-35.
What would you do, Joe? Do you go deep into the playbook? Maybe pull out a trick play at some point, or do you run your offense?
I run my offense. I've scored 35 points running my offense, so I think I probably run my offense. But I say that with first down, second down, maybe third down, I go deep into the playbook if we haven't scored. What do you do? You've coached longer than I have.
One of the things, and this just goes back from watching, not coaching, Northwestern ran not a trick play. It was just a deep in the playbook play last year against Minnesota to score on the first play. Like it was like, oh, look at that. They went for it on the first play and pulled it out, and it was like, oh, we won. It was they held Minnesota to a field goal, scored a touchdown on their first play. Kind of a trick play, just misdirection more than trick. So it kind of changed my opinion on overtime. I might do something crazy on play 1, see if it works out. Almost like the maybe the going for 2 crazy plays, but yeah. So just interesting to see. It looks like they've run 2 plays, out of their offense. So it's 3rd and 10 for DePaul Prep at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, and they ran this play. Whoa. Yeah, I knew that was going to be a flag. I could tell. The one guy was pushing up against him the whole time. I didn't think that play had much of a chance, to begin with. So, I'm not.
Well, you can't put it past offensive coordinators, right, to try and go for the pass interference call.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And they got it there.
Now, do you think that didn't look so clear to me like it was defensive pass interference? It looked like there was some pushing on the outside from both sides.
There might have been, but I think what worked against St. Francis there in the defensive back was he was riding that guy the whole way with his hands on him.
Yeah.
And pushing him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll get a call for sure.
Yeah, so redo third down, right? After the penalty, they move it right at the 5-yard line. So halfway
Half
to
distance.
the goal line.
Yeah,
half the distance.
to the goal.
Yeah.
Not an automatic first down. And that might be new, or that might just be high school. I know in somewhere that's new where it's not automatic first down. So it used to be automatic first down. Probably the NFL. That's geared towards offense. But
Hey, that wasn't a very good play. Yeah, so
I'm a little behind you. So
all right, Juju rolls out to his left. I felt like he saw somebody that was open there and tried to flip it to him, but rolling out to his left, throwing with his right hand, he probably couldn't put enough enough velocity on it to get to the guy he wanted to, so it just kind of floated there and out of the back of the end zone.
So
but they're going to kick a field goal. Yeah.
Becomes pretty important.
And then but then St. Francis gets the ball, right, from the 10, and they score a touchdown, they win, correct?
Right.
All right.
They win and I win, right? And if
win.
If DePaul wins, you win, right? Is that how we picked it this week? Okay.
I believe it is.
So this is bragging rights.
Bragging rights. And by the way, Dan, last week, I know we didn't talk about how we did on our picks from the previous week, right? Yeah. So you and I both went 9-2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Now there was one game that was different. Week 7. We both went 9-2. Where did we differ? So I picked DePaul Prep. You picked Carmel, and DePaul Prep won that game.
Okay.
So that was the one difference. The other one. All right, let me go through these. We both picked Montini. Okay, we got that right. I picked DePaul.
Bronco. Yep.
Riding the Bronco. Yep. I picked DePaul Prep. You picked Carmel. You got that wrong. We both picked St. Rita. Got that right. We both picked IC. Got that right. We both picked Brother Rice. Got that right. I picked Joliet Catholic, and you picked Mount Carmel. That's the other game we got different.
Okay.
Right? You got that right. Then we both picked Marist. We both picked St. Lawrence. We both picked Bennett. We got that one wrong. St. Francis and Loyola. So both 9-2. So I went back through some of the previous weeks, and you were up by 4 games over me, Dan.
Okay. So that's where we're at. That's going into this week.
Yes.
So Joe, first down. It looks like St. Francis ran the ball. Power. They've got a lineman in the backfield, like that reporting lineman, like teams like to do. He's a big boy.
Yeah,
and he's lead blocker. So we've got 2nd and 5 here. I think you might be a little ahead of me. Your internet moves a little faster.
It does. Mine is faster. Yeah, right. I do like the big guy who comes in the backfield and he says, I'm a big guy who can run. Here I am.
Yep. You're going to follow right behind me. Here's where we're running.
We are not going to fool you at all. Yeah.
That's great. And they've got a really nice tailback, St. Francis too, but man, the way Brady Palmer can run too, I think getting him on the outside, giving him a run pass option, that's very, very tempting.
And Dan, if you missed it, Brady Palmer just went in for the touchdown, and that is a St. Francis win, 41-38 over DePaul.
Yep, there it is.
I was listening to you describe that, Brady Palmer and the type of play and the type of plays he runs, and he ran exactly what you were talking about, Dan. and went in for a touchdown.
well,
You are so good. So good.
The prognosticus whispered in my ear.
Oh my God. Yeah. And he wasn't late.
No.
Yeah. So yeah. But what a thrilling game that was.
Yeah, they're fired up at St. Francis.
All right. So what did I say that was? 41 to 38?
35. Oh, yeah, 38. 41-38. Yeah, DePaul kicked the field goal, and St. Francis scored the touchdown.
Yeah. So what that does is DePaul goes to, 6-2? Were they 6-1?
DePaul goes to, boy.
They might be 6-2.
Yeah, they are 6-2.
St. Francis goes to 4-4. So big win for them. Or 5-2.
5-2.
5-2. Yeah. So still big win for St. Francis to get to 5 wins, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. DePaul goes to 7-1, Joe. 7-1.
No, 6-2. They lost.
Oh yeah, gosh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's getting late.
It is. Yeah, that's fine, Dan. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just you and me. Everybody else is gone. Like, Jesus, these guys are bored.
Yeah, Zuko usually hangs out with me. He's been asleep for an hour.
Yeah, staring into the window and like, that's enough. I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, final 41 to 38.
Yeah.
St. Francis over DePaul.
St. Francis, both teams now 6-2.
Oh, yes, both teams 6-2.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. The Fighting Spartans.
Yeah, St. Francis kind of a quiet 6-2.
You know, they were one of those teams we thought early on was kind of falling under the fits and spurts, but they have put it together. Super talented, really dangerous, for the future. All these juniors are back and sophomores. They're pretty loaded.
They're young.
Yeah, they're really good. Really
they're
good.
So
Definitely
young.
a team to watch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Dan, you tell me, you make the call here. Do we want to quickly do one more final scores?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, you start. Go ahead.
Right. Marist over Marmion, 42-0. Notre Dame over Leo, 21-0 at the half. We lost a video feed. Montini, 28-7 over St. Ignatius. St. Rita, 48-7 over St. Pat's. Mount Carmel, 35-10 over Fenwick, and Naz, 62-14 over Bennett.
Okay, all right, good. And I'll go through mine. So I see 48-28 over St. Viator. St. Francis, 41-38 over DePaul Prep. Providence, 34-6 over Marian Catholic. St. Lawrence, Brother Rice, 35-6 over St. Lawrence. Then we've got Loyola, 34-10 over Carmel. So there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another Friday Night Blitz in the books.
Another Friday Night Blitz in the books. And how many more do we have left, Dan?
Well, we'll do another one next week, and then we're kind of up in the air with the playoffs and see how the schedule works. And we have that first weekend. I think we're away. We've got some family business to attend to. So
yeah, which everybody who's still listening, knows. We got our priorities straight, Dan.
Right, family first. Sure.
Right.
The 360 people, Joe, that were online with us live tonight. So that's really good. So we just quickly checking. We were at 360 people at one point.
Who's Dan?
Are you there?
Are you there?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
It's hanging up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we appreciate everybody who listened tonight. Why don't we just say it that way, Dan?
Yeah, very much. Love our listeners. Love that it's growing. Hopefully you enjoy this and the way it is. We have fun doing it. So we'll continue.
Yeah, and we appreciate the people who checked in with us tonight and gave us some updates. As always, and congratulations to those teams that got the win tonight. We're looking forward to our next episode where we'll do a recap of the games. You know, we talked a little bit tonight about them, but we'll do a little bit more in detail recap coming up this weekend, and that'll be out Monday morning sometime. But you know, most of all, we appreciate everybody listening, and we will talk to you soon. Right, Dan?
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night.